Hello, everyone. I'm just getting set up here, so give me a second. Okay, first of all, I want to check for those of you, the two of you that are here, can you hear me? Last time I tried to go live, it was a little bit messy. I had like bad Wi-Fi, my mic wasn't working, so I just want to double check before I get into things. Yes, you can hear me. Fabulous. Thank you so much. I'm just going to take a moment here to ground my energy and then use a little Palo Santo. Thank you guys so much for being here. I'm so excited for this live today. I always get like a little jittery, nervous butterflies before I go live, and then it just ends up being so much fun. Feels like I drank like 1,000 cups of coffee is what it feels like when I go live. So if you guys are just joining, let's all just come into this moment together. Take a deep breath. I'll give you some Palo Santo. And let's just allow ourselves to fully arrive here, to fully feel ourselves in our bodies. And I call on the highest, most loving source energy within me and all around me to support me in bringing through the energy, bringing through the messages that serve the best and highest good of all here. Hello, everyone. Hi, Three Cats, Blackline. Sekavi, am I saying that right? And Rick, hello. So now I'm just going to do a little grounding. Lately, I've been visualizing these golden roots moving down from the bottom of my feet and into the very core of Gaia. I'm curious if anyone else ever sees the roots as golden when they ground, or what you guys see, because that's a really typical like grounding visualization, is to imagine roots growing from the bottom of your feet and connecting all the way down to the core of the earth. And it's always so interesting to know what other people visualize when they're doing that. But for me, I see these like sparkly golden roots rooting down into this glowing crystal core. So hello, everyone. Welcome. Bleach Corvette Man. I love that name. Fasa Ert. I always wonder if these are your real names or just your YouTube names and how you pronounce your real name. So if you guys want to drop your first name in the chat before we get into the questions, I think that'd be fun just to know who's here with us. I have on my little new jewels that I've made. I made these little mushroom earrings and I just think they're literally so cute. Hi, Paul. Hi, Anna, Isabel. Hi, Catherine, Martin, Anton, Chrissy, Thera, Ben, Svetlana. So happy to have you guys here. Thank you guys so much for being here. It feels like, I don't know, just today when I was imagining what was going to happen during the live, I just really felt I was hearing the word soul family hangout. So I think it'd be just fun to, if you guys don't already have some sort of like cup of tea or coffee, if you guys have your Palo Santo going, I think it would just be fun for us to all pretend like we're hanging out in a circle together. Rick, wow, our guides were showing me just yesterday all about roots and how as much as we grow up, we also grow down. Like, yes, that does make sense. Absolutely. Stephanie, hello. 9. Bonnie, hello. Mara, SP, Layla. Oh, I'm glad your day is made. I'm so happy that it was as simple as saying your name. That's awesome. Water and coffee. Me too. I'm needing to drink some water right now because honestly, like I said, it feels like I've had like a couple cups of coffee at this point, even though I've only had like a tiny bit of coffee. Hi, Carly. Yay! So glad we're hanging out, guys. Mm. Yes, I feel like that's you're not alone if you're feeling a little bit out of alignment or dysregulated right now. I was feeling that way yesterday, and yeah, I'll kind of get into it more once we get deeper into the live, but just realizing that there's always more layers that come up, and I felt like I had almost this like weight over my heart, and it was just kind of leading me to this place where I was feeling like I've mentioned this kind of in some of my videos, but feeling a little bit like cynical, like nothing was really bringing me joy. I wasn't really able to be present with anything, just feeling like that weight was preventing me from showing up in my life fully. And I had the opportunity to talk to someone who was able to kind of hold space for me with that yesterday. And it's just so interesting how often we think like, oh, I don't know what's wrong. I don't know what's wrong. And really, it's just a part of us that is needing so much love and so much safety to be where we are. And yeah, I realized that I'm really working with this part of me that doesn't feel safe in this world and that doesn't know how to trust, doesn't know how to surrender. And yeah, she's really scared a lot of the time, and she really needs me to hold her, but it's really hard to hold space for yourself when you don't feel safe. And so sometimes having somebody else around, like even us just all being here on this live together, just feeling that collective energy, because I know that so many of us have felt alone on our healing journeys, and just knowing that I'm sure most of the people here showing up on this live just really have so much unconditional love. We have so much unconditional love within us. And if we can just all collectively send that to each other right now, creating this force field of safety around us. So, whatever we're feeling that makes us feel out of alignment or heavy, that it feels held in this space and not like we need it to go anywhere and not that we need to get over it, but just that we can show up as who we are in this moment, even if we are feeling out of alignment. Just knowing that it's all a part of this purging process. And while it feels like this, at least for me, this last purging process has just been nonstop, one thing after another, it's like to be able to come together and go through this together, I just think is so healing for so many of us. I know that it is for me personally. So let me check on the chat. Yes, I felt weird boredom. Yes. That's like it's like this just like overall dissatisfaction that was coming up for me for sure. Like, yeah, boredom is a good way to put it. Just not really feeling like anything, this is what it is. Nothing outside of me will really fulfill me on a certain level because I'm just continuously being pushed to connect with myself even deeper, connect with my source even deeper. And so it's almost like everything that used to like bring me joy, even relationships that used to feel really fulfilling, it's like I'm not getting what I need there until I go and connect to my heart and tend to my inner world. And it's like, yeah, it just feels like even more intense than it's ever been, pushing me to connect with myself more. It's also hard not to get pulled into the energy of comparison, especially when the parts I'm working to build safety around might seem to come naturally to other souls. I totally hear you. I'm curious, like, what do you think? Like, what are the environments or the habits that you feel like lead you to deeper comparison? Because I know for me, there were certain things that I did, certain people that I was hanging out with where I just like, I was like, how is life so easy for this person? It's like seemingly the things, like you said, the things that were really hard for me, the things that like I was trying to gain my strength around, witnessing somebody who it came so naturally to was so challenging for me because it makes you feel broken. Truly, it does. And I just want you to know that you're not at all, and that it's natural to compare yourself when you're in those situations where somebody is having a really easy time with something you've struggled with for quite a while. But yeah, just curious about like, is it when you go on social media? Because for me, I was thinking of doing a whole video on this, but deleting Instagram and TikTok, I said this in my last video, that was the best decision I ever made. It was hard at first, but I wanna share this with you guys because you guys will totally get it. But I don't know if you've ever noticed that on YouTube, it's called a YouTube channel, and on Instagram, it's called an Instagram feed. And it's so interesting. I feel like Instagram feeds on my energy in a way, like I feel depleted after. And, of course, any social media can do that, right? But with YouTube, it just feels like I'm like connecting to these divine channels usually that almost like support me and give me energy in a way. So I'm curious if you guys feel that. You've been on this journey a long time. My awakening is just a few months old. Yeah, I mean, I feel like in some ways, it's like it's so funny because it's all relative. In some ways, I feel like I've been on this journey a long time. I also feel that I've been on this journey for lifetimes. So it's like I feel like in a sense it's been a while, and then sometimes it feels like I've just begun and there's so much further to go, and I guess both are true, right? Like I've been on the journey for a while. I've had lifetimes of learning, how to dismantle this, how to remember who I truly am, and at the same time, the lengths to which our soul can evolve are endless. So it does feel like I'm also a beginner at the same time. But my mom said yesterday something to me that just really stuck with me. She was like, you don't need to feel better. You need to get better at feeling. And I love that. We're all doing the best we can, of course, but like getting better at feeling is like learning how to ride these waves, like building your own surfboard where like when things get tumultuous, it's like you don't get sucked down into the stories and you can simply be with the sensations without thinking all is lost, or at least without believing that all is lost. So let's see. I want to catch up with the chat. Feels another like me was another her. My past does not resonate with me. I feel so disconnected to spirituality, but it feels so nice that I'm not alone in this phase. Yeah, I think sometimes we evolve out of old versions of what we thought spirituality was, right? Like, I think that to me, the sign of someone who is deeply spiritual is somebody who is just like always on that journey of being curious, somebody who's like forever the student. I just think that's so important because when we get to that space of thinking that we know everything, that we have all the answers, it's usually our ego trying to bring us comfort through thinking that we know. And yeah, I just think it's so important to remain curious. Let's see. Want to catch up. Yes, with Instagram and YouTube. Okay, you guys you guys get me. Without social media, it's so life-changing. Hi, Larry. Hello. Nomine, is that your full name? Hello, A Room to Bloom. It's great to know that we are actually disembodied beings here to ascend this human life form to the next stage of its higher evolution. Beautiful. Agree. For some people, it looks so easy. I can't take 20 more years of healing. I so much feel like having more fun and socializing. Yes. And know that I really truly believe that it comes in waves and that, right now we're just in this really intense wave because there is this huge collective shift happening on the planet. And so I think it's so important to create those moments of fun for yourself, even in the midst of, doing this deep healing work. It's so important to not treat it like, I think sometimes on the journey, we can almost treat healing like it's our full-time job. And of course, like sometimes we have to be doing that, right? We wake up and there's unbearable pain, or we get triggered and we have to keep going there with ourselves. And there's so much that can come up on a daily basis. So it can feel like healing is our full-time job. But I think it's so important to notice when that conditioning of things having to be hard to be effective comes in with the healing journey, and understanding that, of course, the shadow work and the holding yourself is so important, but also the play is important. And if you feel resistance to playing and having fun, that's, somewhere to do some shadow work, right? Like show up to something that you maybe would have found fun, like creating art or a painting, for example. This is not everyone's cup of tea. Maybe for you, it's like baking or a sport that you play. Show up to it and then notice what comes up if you're feeling resistant to it. And then that's where you can really do that deeper healing work on yourself to begin to invite in more play again. Because for me, that is like what fuels me on the journey, is like having those things to look forward to. So it's really important. And I promise you won't be in the dark night of the soul, like healing down in those trenches for a solid 20 more years. There might be ebbs and flows of that healing work, right? But I think something that happens when we're really down in one of the more challenging spaces of the healing journey is the mind gets cynical and convinces us we're going to be there forever, when really all we need to do is just truly surrender to what's showing up in the present and know that there is a massive breakthrough coming. Like we just have to know that, even if the mind on some level is convincing us that we are going to be stuck there, because basically what that is a little trick our mind plays on us when we are down in those lower places, and the mind starts to create the story, oh, I'm going to be stuck here forever, I'm going to be healing forever, this is so hard, I don't want to do this anymore. It brings us out of the present moment, and it brings us away from the current sensation that we're feeling, where we can like truly have a breakthrough. When we get into that space of thinking too far ahead and of, you know, really feeling stuck on our journey, it blocks us from truly allowing what's showing up in the present, right? So it's kind of the mind's trick to bring us away from the pain of what we're feeling in the current moment. But the truth is that when we avoid it and when we try to get rid of it, or when we get into that place where we're like, oh, I just don't want to do this anymore because it's never going to get better, that is illusion. And truly, we just need to be with what's showing up in a space of neutrality, and not I don't even like to use the word neutrality, because I think it's so much more than that. It's a space of, yes, neutrality on some level, but also deep unconditional love, of being in the seat of your divine self and knowing, oh, look, my human self needs so much love right now. She's processing years of repressed emotion, and I'm right here with her. I see myself getting stronger through this. I see what's coming. Even though I may not know exactly what the breakthrough is going to look like or when it's going to happen, I know for certain that this is temporary, and I'm going to be with myself, be so present with myself, even that part of me that thinks it's never going to end, and choose to not believe that narrative, because there are massive breakthroughs coming. And I know from personal experience that my mind has tricked me to believe that I would be stuck where I was in this depressed, frozen state forever. And I promise you, a year ago, I was struggling so much more with these emotions coming up. And I got better at feeling in a way where now I feel like there's this stable energy growing within me. So no matter where you're at on your journey, whether you feel that you're already in that stable place or you're struggling to do that, know that you can continue to trust everything that comes up for you, and that there is a deeper healing, a foundation being built within you. And yes, it does take some time, but you're going to look back and be so grateful you did this work. Okay, hold on. I got to catch up on the chat, guys. Okay, let's see. As for the trigger of comparison, I've noticed comparison kicks in for me in regard to how others are using or taking up space. That makes so much sense. I mean, I think often when we're on the healing journey, we see people whose souls haven't been called to that deeper level, and they're able to just kind of like show up in a world and in the world in a way that it feels almost effortless watching them. And it's just so interesting how I believe that the souls that are here in this live, that are in this chat, you guys all have such a significant mission here on earth. And sometimes that mission, while we're building up to prepare for it, can feel so invisible and like we're not doing anything. And you know, when other people are taking up space in the world, that part of us that knows that our soul is calling us to that is like angry or just like antsy a little bit, like I want to take up space. I want to share my voice. I have something important to offer into the world. And so when you see other people offering their gift to the world, it can feel really challenging because for us here, it's taking longer to build the foundation for that. There's so much healing, but I want to share with you what I've realized is as to why, because for us here, we are being called into precision alignment with the highest love, the highest service of all, knowing that what we are meant to contribute into humanity in this lifetime is truly meant to be so pure, so healing. And it does take a lot of shadow work to be able to witness if your ego is kind of getting in the way and tainting this pure transmission that you're meant to deliver in whatever way you're meant to deliver it, right? And so I know for me personally with these videos, I have to constantly like catch the part of myself that wants to be, performing more or like creating more content, doing more and more and more when that's actually not what my soul is calling me to do. Like breaking out of that need to do it the way that everybody else is doing it, because I totally hear you when there are other creators who are taking up so much space and have these really large platforms. There can be a part of me that is like, oh, I really want to be seen in that way too. And it almost deters me from this precision aligned mission. So I totally understand, almost feeling like there's like this little prize being dangled in front of you of what other people are doing and wanting that for yourself, but just knowing like your soul is calling you to this healing work right now. And it's for a very good reason, because I promise you will feel so much more fulfilled co-creating with the divine, because that's why you're here. And you're still likely, I mean, I don't know all the info, but I just think for most of us here, we're still in that process. Now, does that mean we can't share or take up space? No, but for example, for me, when I was really struggling with creation online, I was kind of trying to come across as having the answers, and what I believe many of in the old paradigm spiritual teachers did this, where they kind of were on their pedestal with all of the answers. Listen to me, I'm already healed, I don't struggle with anything. And that is crashing and burning now. And so if you do feel called to show up in some way, and this may not be online, just know that you can show up honestly and authentically as you are right now and make a difference. And um, yeah, your path, although more challenging than other people, is quite rewarding when you ask to be shown, how can I be in service of the highest good of all? It's so beautiful when you finally listen and kind of get out of your own way. And yeah, I'm curious, you guys, what are you feeling called to create in the world? I want to catch up on the chat before like I check in on these answers, but are you guys wanting to start YouTube channels? Are you wanting to start podcasts? Are you wanting to write books? Are you wanting to be artists? Are you wanting to be activists in some way, or design your own tarot decks or whatever it is? I'm just so curious, like if you feel called to share, what is the sacred creation that you see yourself bringing onto planet Earth? And if you don't know yet, that's totally fine too. I think some of us, we're all just kind of walking in the dark here, figuring it out. But what are you what's most alive in you right now? Okay. Been on this path for over 10 years since birth. Just a few months ago, so many magical experiences with the divine, not thinking but guided. Then wham, old hidden trauma I never knew I had stored. Yes. And I think that that's been, a journey that can be really confusing, right? To have those magical experiences where you feel that oneness, where you feel just the truth of this experience, right? And then to have all of that old trauma come up, it's so easy to feel like you're doing something wrong or that you've backtracked and you're going to be stuck there. But I think something that came to me the other day, and it's kind of something that I've shared probably a million times in my videos, but there are certain levels of trauma that we have buried within us, likely from lifetimes. It's ancestral. And the deepest traumas require the deepest level of safety and connection with the divine for us to truly hold space for, right? Because if these traumas just come up and if we're just clearing all of this energy, it's actually more likely for us to be re-traumatized by it if we don't have that love and that safety surrounding it. So often, as we get to higher levels in our ascension and in our awakening, we have even deeper pain that comes up with that because we are now equipped to hold space for it in a way that can alchemize it rather than thinking that we're stuck or lost. But of course, the human mind sometimes when those traumas come up is like, I thought I was past this already, you know? So I totally hear you. It's off subject, but what's your horoscope? You are on point. I am a Libra sun and moon. I have Libra in my chart everywhere. I'm actually turning 30 in October, so I'm very excited for my birthday. And I am a Cancer rising. So that's where the very like nurturing motherly energy comes from. But it's so funny, like my north node's in Libra. There's so much in Libra in my chart, and it's so relevant because I think the thing that I struggle with the most is balance, and that's like my life purpose of what I'm meant to achieve. And it's been a very interesting journey. That's why I talk so much about perfectionism and living a life of devotion over discipline, because that has been the biggest challenge for me, is learning how to balance my freedom and my well-being and letting myself really live and do what I want, but also making sure that I'm taking care of myself at the same time, finding balance in my relationships. And it's been quite a journey with that one. Okay, wait. I'm gonna go up. Okay. Yes, you said that right. I've been studying Carl Jung lately. Yes. Actually, he popped up on my feed. Maybe that's a little confirmation there for me to check him out. Strange when ones you know and love have not woken and think we are weird forever. Oh my god. There cannot be something I relate to more. This says spiritual grandma. I love the name, by the way. Strange when ones you know and love have not woken and they think we are weird to have awakening. I think it's so funny how it's like when you wake up to the truth or the highest truth that we can access at this time, when we wake up to that, and suddenly it's like you realize that all of the labels of what is a conspiracy theory or what makes somebody weird is actually used as like spiritual warfare to prevent us from journeying in this way, to prevent us from opening our minds. And so those labels of being weird or being crazy, being woo woo, all of those things, it's like I don't think people even realize that it's spiritual warfare. I mean, that's how it works, right? Like spiritual warfare is very sneaky and yeah, convincing somebody that they're crazy for opening their mind is a very good way to prevent people from wanting to do that, to prevent people from wanting to think for themselves and expand and question things. And so just, you know, when I come across people like close friends or family, people from my past who think that what I'm doing is absolutely crazy, it's like, again, to me, I almost see everything that shows up in my life that challenges me as um, a push to remember my divinity even more and to ask myself, how would the highest, most loving source within me respond to this? And it's like that part of me has nothing to prove. I just sit on my throne and my knowing, because this is what has brought me so much peace and so much healing. And, you know, I let them think I'm crazy. And, you know, I have a very strong feeling that in the coming years, many people who have been seen as crazy or conspiracy theorists are actually going to be the ones leading the way. I mean, we're already seeing evidence of this, but yeah, just let people be on their journeys, and it's not our job to convince anyone to believe what we believe. And I'm definitely speaking to you guys, but also myself as well. I actually had a dream the other night where I was trying to like convince somebody in my dream that what I was talking about wasn't pseudoscience. And it was just like, I did a little analysis when I woke up and I was like, oh, yeah, there is that part of me that still feels like people think I'm crazy or I'm stupid or I'm out there when I share my wisdom, when I share my knowledge, and just loving that part of me and knowing like, I believe you. I believe myself, and us all being gathered here too. Like, I've been so amazed being on YouTube how many of us there are, right? Like, even more so than just my channel. My channel's, still blossoming and growing. And like, I see these other channels where, um, people who are channeling the Galactic Federation of Light, for example, channeling Arcturians and Pleiadians, getting, hundreds of thousands of views. And I'm like, okay, there's a lot of us here, and even more than that. So it's really exciting. Like, we think that we're the only ones, but I do believe we're scattered throughout the planet. So it can feel isolating, which is why this soul family hangout is so fun. Okay, yes, I have to find some balance and remember to have fun. So important. Some things that really, really help me are like, in this little cabinet right here, I have like all of this like art supplies that I used to have when I was a kid, and just like creating messy, ugly art. Sometimes I'll paint like landscapes, like you can kind of see this one over here, but like sometimes just like I really want to like throw paint at the canvas, and like I got paint all over my carpet the other day, and yeah, I just had to laugh it off. But like doing things like that, that's how I create fun. So, okay. Most people are terrified of facing their true selves and would fight tooth and nail to avoid doing the shadow work to experience their true selves beyond this fear-based existence. Yeah, I mean, as we know, it's scary, right? There's so much shame there. Shame is one of the like hardest emotions to feel. I mean, I heard someone say it's not even an emotion. It's like, I don't know. I need to look into that more, but it's one of the hardest sensations to feel. And so, of course, people who are kind of abiding by the 3D structure and system that we were raised in, right? They might seem like they're further along on their journey, and it's hard to look at that on the surface level and to be doing this invisible healing work and to not really be seeing many results from it, and working through so many self-worth wounds and abundance wounds, like lack wounds of the being the mystic, being the healer, being these highly powerful beings who aren't seeing a lot of physical results because of the structure that we lived in. It's really hard to be in this transitionary phase that we're in, but I know with every cell of my body that this is at least the path for me, and that spirit, it has been just nudging me and saying, keep going, it gets better, it gets easier. And I believe that, and I've had experiences where where I have stepped into that, and yeah, just I'm feeling more surrendered to the journey lately, and sometimes I'm not, but at least today that's how I feel. I find highly spiritual people are simple. It's the ego that loves to get into complexity, spiritual secrets, getting sucked into all the conspiracy theory stuff. That's true in a sense. Like, a lot of highly spiritual people, it's like they don't really feel the need to understand everything, right? Because there's a part of them that's surrendered to the knowing that they might never fully understand. And that's part of why we came into these human bodies, right? We didn't come from that all knowing, all loving source energy into this illusion to remain in that all knowing, all loving energy, right? We came to learn through this experience. And so I do think some of the most, highly spiritual people are ones who are like, I don't know, and that's okay. And I don't need to get into all of these theories. I think one thing I have noticed, though, is that it can be fun, right? It can be fun to connect with the galactics or connect with, your starseed heritage in some way, to connect with these mystical, magical crafts, or whatever it is, if it's coming from a place of joy and fun, I think that it's like the most spiritual thing you can do is to explore whatever is calling you, but to not do it from this place of trying to find all the answers, trying to be the most spiritual person, if that makes sense. Because it's easy to teeter on that line. Let's see. At the same time, I find these spiritual oh my gosh. Mara, you said the same thing as me. It can be approached from a place of play. They can make really great stories. Exactly. Like I think for some of us, that's where it's like any hobby in a way. Like, I think for me, I really love the thought of exploring these different star systems. That's what I make my artwork around, is where I believe my soul originated from, which is a star system called Mintaka. And it's this beautiful water planet. And it just brings me joy to like bring these frequencies to Earth, right? It's not about escaping to be living in Mintaka La La Land all the time. It's about remembering that these are my soul's unique codes and that it's fun to express that on the earth plane. Okay, Jillian, let's see. I've been in the dark night of the soul for 3.5 years now. I feel so disconnected from source/God for all these years. Does anyone feel the same? I'm so used to it now, but I feel like I'm missing something big. I'm curious what. Okay, so I'm going to respond to this. I think that there have been so many misconceptions about what it feels like and what it means to be connected to source. And I think for so long, I'm not sure if this will really speak to you, but I'm talking to Jillian right now, if you're still here. And to anyone who this resonates with, I think for so long, I was waiting for this otherworldly encounter to know that I am connected to source, to know that I am source, to know that I am God. And I was almost waiting for something to kind of come in and make me feel that way so that I could believe in it, so that I could know that it was there. And something that I've realized over the years of waiting for that to happen was that my connection to the divine is subtle yet powerful at the same time. And what has opened me up to a deeper connection to that is, first of all, knowing that I'm not waiting for anything outside of me to show me that I'm connected to myself, to show me that I'm connected to source. I'm waiting for that part of me who remembers to practice the remembering and believe in it, even when I have no evidence. I think a huge part of the dark night of the soul is feeling completely lost so that we have to trust. I have full body chills as I'm saying this right now, because it's like we don't come to earth to have all of the answers. We come to earth to learn how to trust in the unknown, in the unseen. And it's funny because once we start trusting, that's when we get the evidence. Once we start believing wholeheartedly, I am source energy embodied. I may not know exactly what that means on a human level, but when I feel into that, I know it's true on some deeper level. It's about learning to trust these subtle instincts, these subtle knowings that we have within us, right? And I want to be so clear that it doesn't, at least for me, I know there are some channelers and psychics who have these otherworldly experiences, who like literally go on spaceships or like have experiences with these higher dimensional beings that feel really tangible. For me, it is a very subtle feeling, a very subtle knowing. And I've had some pretty crazy synchronicities and mystical experiences. But I wouldn't say that those came to me until I was really in this space of unequivocally trusting, even when I was in the middle of the dark night of the soul. And I'm still in my own version of the dark night of the soul. So trust me, I'm right there with you. But I think that's one thing. And then I think the other thing is that it can feel really hard to know that we are source when we are operating in a way that uh, is contributing to the illusion. And so, what I mean by that is if there are voices within you that are judgmental towards yourself, shaming, thinking that you shouldn't be where you are on your journey, if you judge yourself for certain actions you take or certain relationships you're still involved in, certain habits or addictions, or for whatever it is, wherever you're judging, shaming, or resisting your current state of being, where you're at on your human journey, that is actively what keeps us feeling separate from source, because the source within us and all around us loves us unconditionally, never judges us, never shames us, never makes us feel like we're doing anything wrong, right? It subtly nudges us towards what serves our highest good. It subtly nudges us to where we're meant to be, but we have free will over whether or not we listen to that. And I found that I felt really lost, really far away from my inner source when I was not being loving towards myself. Because to embody source energy and to embody your connection to the divine is to love yourself unconditionally, is to support yourself and hold yourself the way that the divine would hold you. And often it comes with this period of kind of having to double down on that when we're in that space of fear and shame. And I just remember a little over a year ago, maybe a little more than that, but it was when I first started working with the mentor that supported me so much. Her name's Siobhan. And she taught me about self-love in a way that I had never heard it before. I had heard it, it's like a popular term in like the coaching industry or wherever, in the self-help industry. But when she explained to me that I did not feel safe with myself, that I did not trust myself, because I was so hard on myself and because I was resisting where I was at instead of giving myself the love and connection that I needed, I realized that that was the medicine that I needed to reconnect to myself and therefore reconnect to source. So instead of believing that connecting to source or God is about connecting to this being outside of you and waiting for this mystical experience to happen, it's kind of about moving into the nitty-gritty human experience and cultivating that voice within, stepping into your power to say, I know there's a part of me that's judging myself right now. I know I'm struggling. I know that I have these beliefs that tell me I'm behind and I'm not doing well, but I love you and I'm here with you. And saying that to yourself, even if you don't fully believe it, even if that voice in your mind is telling you that it's not working, I promise you, this is the most life-changing thing that I have ever done, is to double down on that love, to hold myself and send myself love even when I don't feel it, to call on the divine beings who want to support me and believe that they're there even when I don't feel it. And that is what opens the door to begin to feel it more. As we do this work, our vibration rises naturally from a baseline space within us. It cannot be messed with when we work on this foundational baseline frequency, right? It's so powerful. So that's what we're being called to do with the self-love, removing the shame, removing the distortion, raising our frequency from within. As we do this, we are able to have these encounters with these angelic beings, with these divine beings, with our inner source in a way that feels more tangible and real. But when our vibration is feeling heavy, which is natural, and many of us find ourselves there frequently, when we're feeling stuck, when we're feeling low, when we've taken on a lot of energy from the world outside of us, these divine beings that we want to connect with can feel like an illusion. They can feel fake, they don't really exist. And again, that's the spiritual warfare, questioning if there really is more beyond us and what that more even is. And so this phase of dark night of the soul, it is this trust fall, right? It is this doubling down on love, knowing love, unconditional love is the medicine that we need, and calling on that in whatever way we can, whether that's connecting to angels, guides, or connecting to something tangible in the human realm. I know for many of us, unconditional love can be felt from our furry friends, right? I can't wait to get a pet, by the way. I've been waiting to get a pet until after there's been a lot of life changes, but that's a side note. Our furry friends can be such a beautiful connection to unconditional love, a beautiful connection to the divine. So there's that. A crow just flew by as I said that. That's not the type of furry friend that I want, although I do love the crows. So yes, or somebody in your life, a friend, a family member, whoever it is, if you feel alone, know that if you're here, I'm sending you unconditional love, and I see you. I see the work you're doing for the collective. I see how hard you've been working. I see how scary this journey is, how easy it is to feel lost and alone. And I'm just going to take a moment and I'm going to send you guys so much unconditional love. That source love that does not judge. I see you guys. I love you guys so much. It literally brings me to tears sometimes thinking about how grateful I am to be able to just talk like this. Like, I feel like these are the words I've been keeping down my whole life, and I just get to, like, I don't know. It's just so fun. So I hope, Jillian, I hope that supports you wherever you're at on your journey. Hi, fam. Not sure if I'm late or just in time. Happy to have you, DJ Captain Wolf. The old gray wolf. Lots of wolves here. Curious, can you share my mom's first name? I feel like I want to keep my family stuff private for now. Just because I haven't asked their permission to share their names and things like that. So I hope you guys understand. One teacher from my country said, there is the end of the healing journey. You get healed, and through the healing, you get to know yourself. And at that end of the road is peace, peace that always expands. That's beautiful. I feel like, something that I've gone back and forth with are teachers who talk about the healing journey being never ending. And I think the truth is that there's always going to be more that comes up that helps our soul to evolve and expand, right? But that eventually we get to learn and expand through other types of challenges, maybe more so. I don't know. I'm having a hard time even putting this into words, but there was this card that I was reading where it's like, I'm ready to let go of needing to learn through these experiences of pain and suffering. I'm ready to learn through a higher vibrational experience of love. And I do think that there's a space that we get to where we're so rooted in our divinity, where we're so rooted in that unconditional love, where again, it's like that surfboard over the waves. It's not that the waves aren't there. It's that we get stronger. We really remember who we are. And therefore it's like everything is us. And so nothing is happening to us, but for us. And I think when we're in the lower vibrational experience, that can feel really challenging to believe. But as we continue to surrender and evolve, it becomes easier. So I totally believe that. And that also, I think, is so important too, to not buy into any limiting narratives that say, oh, the healing experience is going to go on forever. It's never going to end. It may not end fully, but it will evolve and it will feel easier because you will get stronger, right? Dwight, enjoy your bath. Enjoy your bath. That sounds great. Write a book, Spiritual Grandma. I love that. I also love the name Spiritual Grandma. Like, that's awesome. Yeah, I feel like there's a lot of beautiful knowledge that will come through in that book. And so, if you guys actually have anything that you've created that you want to share, please do. I think what I'm sensing for many of us is that a lot of our creations are still kind of in the ethers being built into physical form because the world's not quite ready yet, but the world is getting ready for these creations and they're going to come out at the perfect time. I've been stuck feeling like I have nothing to offer. I totally get that feeling. And I think just being with yourself in that and knowing that the truth is you likely have so much overwhelming creative energy within you that has just been dormant for a while. Like when we're in a space of feeling really down, when we're in a space of doing deep shadow work, we're actually in a necessary pause because it takes so much energy to heal, so much energy to hold ourselves. And so often we're not going to get inspired with ideas in that space because we're not meant to be doing anything. And in this world, it can feel like you're broken when you're in that space of surrender, when you're in that space of healing, which is part of the reason why I wanted to create this channel in a way, because I've been there and I continuously go through those phases where it's like, my mind's like, I should be doing something, I should be creating something. And my body's like, go lay down. Go lay down and just process all of this energy that's moving through you because there's so much more than you realize. So, Catherine, it is likely that internally you are letting go of so much more than you realize right now. And can you trust that as you nurture yourself with love, that you will be inspired with an idea in divine timing? The world isn't ready for you yet. So let yourself be in your cocoon. Let yourself be where you are and know that you will blossom, you will fly when it's time. And trust that. The more spiritual I get, the less I want to do and just sit in my practice. I totally hear you. Totally hear you. I've been thinking of starting a YouTube channel just to share my thoughts to help others, but I don't know what to actually talk about. Writing a fantasy book, oh my gosh, I'm a huge fantasy nerd. So please tell me if you write a fantasy book. I love like all things fae. I don't know if you can tell. I feel like my ears have gotten pointier since I started reading fairy books. So I would love to read a fantasy book written by you, Bonnie. That'd be awesome. But with the YouTube channel, I would absolutely also love to see your videos, and I encourage you to do it. And like something that I just thought of was something that got me going was asking myself, like, how can I get out of my own way and speak to those who need to hear it? Speak to, I know this might sound kind of cliche, but like the past version of myself who is so lost, and just share openly and honestly about where I am right now. And that has been what's created this beautiful community. And so I struggled on social media for a really long time, not knowing how to show up. And I think it's just asking how can I be of service is such a powerful motivator, at least for me, when I'm feeling like maybe I don't have anything of value to share. Just even turning on the camera with no intention of posting it, taking that pressure off and just like kind of seeing what comes through, right? Like even maybe pulling some cards or just like channeling out, right? If you're a writer, you can just write a message at first and read it aloud on camera. I think it's so important for us to be able to play and just try things, right? I am being called to start a spiritual ranch retreat for light workers who wish to connect deeper with Mother Earth and who wish to work together as a collective to expand our love light. That sounds awesome. My literal dream is to like, I don't know about you guys. I'm sure you guys crave this too, but I was saying to my boyfriend last night, I so long for like a private piece of land just surrounded by forest. I like just pure nature. Do any of you guys have that? Because that's amazing if you do. Like just to I think as an empath, right? Many of us crave that just solitude and nature. I think that's just something that I really long for. And I'm like, do I want to move somewhere where not a lot of people are? Because yeah, like a ranch or something like that, somewhere where there's animals and nature. Just I think most of us have that like homestead vision in the spiritual community. Some of us don't, but yeah, I mean that sounds awesome. Dwight, I hope you enjoyed your sandwich and tea. Dude, not the place. Okay. This is really aligned with what I'm going through right now. Okay, wait, hold on one second. got lost here because there's a lot more messages than I realized. Holy shoot. I don't know why I just said that. Okay. Okay, I'm back. Books, blogs, lyrics, poems. Love that. You guys, I would love to see your creations when they come out. So feel free to, and like, I want to do these lives more often. So if you guys ever have something you want to share, I would love to have you guys be able to link that here. Oh my gosh, spiritual grandma, you're a Libra? Team Libra. Okay. I'm called to share probably through social media, but it terrifies me to be seen. And historically, when I share stuff, it's all crickets, yet the guides keep pushing me to do it. Yeah, I think that it takes time, right? Because, like, for me, starting on social media, I wish I could, maybe I'll try and make a video where I talk about this at some point because it seems like a lot of you guys want to share your voice, right? I had no idea what I was doing. Guys, I look like frozen on camera in a lot of them because it's scary. Like, many of us are healing from these deep persecution imprints. So even unbeknownst to us in this lifetime, where we probably won't be killed for showing up, right? We have that feeling like, I am not safe. I'm not safe. And for me, a lot of that was feeling evil eye energy on me a little bit, feeling like there's all these people who don't want to see me succeed. And they think, on top of that, they think I'm crazy for talking about the things that I'm talking about. So instead of just being able to speak to you guys right away, I was trying to like prove my point, or needing likes and views to not feel embarrassed about sharing my perspective, right? And I think that that part of receiving crickets is kind of a part of the necessary ego death to be able to create from a place of pure service. And so I think it's almost like a little bit of a, not a test, but a challenge to ask yourself, why am I doing this? Because if I'm doing this to serve the highest good of all, if I'm doing this to connect with soul family, that could be a part of where the need to be seen is coming from, right? Like wanting to connect with people who hear you, wanting to be received, wanting to be heard. And that's so valid. I think that in order to get to that place, sometimes we need to have that little ego death of like, I have 0 views. I have 0 likes. I'm talking to a camera. Maybe the only people watching me are the people who are judging me and don't want me to win. And that's really hard. So I totally hear you. I think a few things that helped me were, one, understanding that like it can be really hard to show up as your authentic self right away, and letting yourself show up inauthentically if you need to, just to get yourself out there. Like, I'm sure if you went back on my YouTube channel and you watched an old video, you would notice the level of comfortability increases through doing it. But there were so many times where I didn't post for a few months between videos, right? Because it was draining and exhausting for me to overcome those fears and overcome the fear of being seen, right? So it is literally almost like a psychedelic process going and being seen on social media. It's like having to shed all of that egoic attachment, and then also having to face at the same time your deepest fears, right? So there's so much to it. But if you want to grow, I invite you to do it, and then be so kind with yourself as you face those fears. Because like I said, there were moments where I had to really pull away and sit with all that was coming up for me as I started sharing. But with that being said, I would really invite you to speak to those who want to hear you, who need to hear you, and who already understand what you're talking about. Because I feel like that is what changed everything for me. When I stopped trying to over explain myself, when I stopped trying to appeal to everyone and started speaking to you guys, that's when it just got so much easier. And you'll kind of notice on my channel, even like some of my videos reach a lot of people and some of them don't. And what spirit has guided me to understand is that sometimes messages are also so sacred that they're meant to be divinely protected, right? They're maybe not meant to reach a larger audience. And so just also understanding that as well. And when you're in that service role, learning how to surrender to that. It's not easy. Trust me. Like I think it's one of the most challenging things to do, because going online, like you can be exposed to so many people or so few. So it's a little bit like your nervous system doesn't know how to react when you first start putting yourself out there. Am I going to have to deal with the feeling of not being seen, that feeling of being rejected, the feeling of, you know, not being supported by my community? Or am I going to have to deal with the feeling of being overly seen and overly viral in a way where I get all of this energy? So it can be a lot. And so just be compassionate with yourself with that resistance there. But I would love to hear if you do post, if you do start a YouTube channel, you guys. Maybe I'll do a live like a month from now and we'll check in, and maybe in this time you guys can start these things that you feel called to do messily and imperfectly, and then we can kind of come back here and share our names if we have started things, and we can all kind of support each other in that way. I think that'd be awesome. So many beautiful voices and missions here. Cannot wait to see them manifest. Totally agree. Chrissy, I feel really called to start making music. I've written a few songs so far about losing people, death, or friendships ending, and it has really helped me to work through those feelings. I don't know. I've never. Sorry, hold on one second. I wanna respond to this because I saw another question after that. But first of all, I would love to also hear your music. I think that losing friendships has been one of the hardest pieces of this journey for me. And so if you do feel called, I don't know if your music is like out there on Spotify or something like that, but if you feel called to like put your name in the chat, if you want to keep it sacred for yourself, I totally understand. But I would absolutely love to hear your music because, yeah, I just have a feeling tapping into those deep emotions and then creating art with it is going to be so cathartic and healing. If it's just meant for you, that's beautiful that you've used that for yourself as a tool. But I think many people here would also love it if you feel called to share. So totally up to you. I've never seen Dwight here before, I don't think, but he adds a little bit of pizzazz to the chat. So that's funny. um, Okay, I would love to stay connected and offer support where I can for anyone's journey through social media, website. Yes. So, you know what I'm going to do? I am going to make a post. I need to write this down. I'm going to make a post on my community page, and you guys can share your creations, like where people can find them. Yeah, and we'll start there just to connect with each other so we can support everything. My contributions are the changes I make inside myself, and what I realize is instantly shared through the magnetic field. We are all inside and connected. Thank you so much for your videos. Beautiful. And I love that example too of honoring that your contribution doesn't have to be something that you physically create. Your existence is enough. Your existence is more than enough. It is so powerful and it is changing the world. So for anyone who's like, I don't know what I want to create, take advice from Paulino because that was beautifully said. KLR, oh yeah, my family thinks I'm nuts. One day they'll see, but we won't hold our breath for that day. Okay, it's either they think I'm crazy for being myself or they think I'm crazy because I'm acting out of alignment with myself. May as well attempt to act in alignment. True. I love it. Where are you all from? Curious if anyone is interested in human design. I want to kind of read through these so I can catch up to where we're at now. I will answer any questions. I did look into human design a few years ago. I believe I'm a manifesting generator. I don't know a ton about it though. Hi, this is Nicole. Hee hee. I'm watching from my partner's account. I never catch you live. Hello, Nicole. Welcome. Thanks for being here. Okay, KLR. We can't let people's judgments stop us from being our true soul-filled selves. Absolutely true. Absolutely. Greetings from Mexico, Holland. What is that? What is that flag? I can't see if it's black or blue. My screen is not showing me, but I'm curious, Catherine, what flag that is. Um, Human design has had a huge impact on my life. I'm a splenic projector. Interesting. We have Sweden. Oh my gosh, we have so many of you guys in some of the most beautiful places. The Netherlands. Would love to listen to your experience. I'm a 4-6 generator. Okay. Have you got any advice for looking further into starseed and where we may have come from? So that's actually how I found my mentor. She's not taking clients anymore, but basically I kept pulling a card. I have the deck right next to me. I kept pulling the same card. This was my first oracle deck I ever got. And I kept pulling the same card over and over again, which was Mintalkin. I'll see if I can find it. And so it was kind of like I felt the universe was alerting me to that when I was ready to learn about it, when I was ready to look into it more. If you're feeling called, that could be your call to maybe get some type of, I know there are a lot of different like starseed decks. You could start with a deck like that, or you could just start researching the different star systems. I think many of us have lived lives on many different star systems, so you could resonate with more than one. But if you're here, since we're soul family here, I would invite you to look into Mintaka if you really love crystal clear water, if you just have this affinity for beauty, affinity for perfection. It's a very high vibrational, well, it no longer exists. It was actually destroyed, which I'm not going to get into that, but look up my mentor's video. It's like Mintalkin origins, Mintalkin traits. I'll maybe put it in this post that I'm going to make so I don't forget. But many of you guys could be from Mintaka since we're soul family here. But this painting is of Mintaka. So I'll show you guys. Okay. And I'm not done with it yet, but there, like what I remember is like these crystal clear waters, these vibrant purple skies, and just like giant crystals everywhere. So that I'm currently bringing it to life right now. But yeah, I definitely recommend just watching videos on starseed traits, right? And noticing what you resonate with the most and just kind of starting wherever you're called. You could probably even look up a video on YouTube where they talk about a bunch of different ones together so that, oh, here it is. This was the card. So curious if any of you guys think you're from Mintaka. So yeah, I did this like soul blueprint session one time, and she kind of saw the origin of my soul again. I wish that she still did these sessions. She's moved on to something else now, but yeah, she saw these like iridescent rainbow butterfly wings and just saw this lifetime on Mintaka. So that's kind of what got me into it. But you could do like an Akashic record reading with the intention of discovering that part of your soul history. You could do some sort of past life regression and kind of set the intention. I would love to know my star lineage. I would love to know, where did my soul originate? Did I originate, here on Earth? It's likely not if you're here right now. Maybe it's Arcturus, maybe it's Sirius, maybe it's Pleiades. There's all these different places that you can start exploring. And I would just kind of treat it as like a game and not get too attached to getting the answer, letting the answer come to you. But yeah, it's really fun to explore, I think. She's also from Mintaka. Do you know Freya? I think I may have seen that name on my feed before. If you know her, if she's on YouTube, send me her at, because I would love to know. Okay. I would suggest letting your curiosity guide you. Yes, exactly. I'd love to share and listen to yours. I love that you guys are all supporting each other so much. That makes me so happy. Okay, practicing astrologer and the workings of HD. Just trying to catch up. Just remember the journey Jesus took. He faced it all and kept believing. So true. And that's like, I don't know why I'm jumbling my words right now. They left me. But basically, that's not the first reference to Jesus and his path that I've had within the past like 24 hours. I had a few references to that yesterday. So that's so interesting. I think what's cool is that instead of it just being Mr. Christ, Jesus doing it alone, we all get to do this together in this era. So it's really beautiful to be able to walk by each other's side and to believe each other, you know? Okay, let's see. My chat and video is a little bit behind for me. I had those mystical experiences, but can't tap into them anymore. But yeah, I think letting go of what it should feel like is a big one. Okay. I definitely relate to what you're saying about self-love, Michaela. Thanks for sharing this. I'm currently working through this in a more conscious way. The space you're creating. I love you guys so much. And I love reading these comments. As someone that actually has had a massive one-off experience of source, and it isn't all positive because you then have to live your life in comparison to that unbelievable feeling. It can be difficult. Yeah. Oh, and his name is Healing with Jesus. I love that. That's so interesting because I yesterday was talking about how there are certain types of like not plant medicine, but certain types of like therapies. Like I know a lot of people use I don't want to like say the names of certain drugs on here just because I don't really know what YouTube will think about them, but certain drugs that people use to have these healing experiences, right, that are regulated and like you can go into a clinic to use them. But that there's a part of me that doesn't feel called to venture that way. And I saw 111 as I said that, because sometimes having like a deeply healing experience that isn't a solid state that you can access in a way can also just make you grieve that and long for that in a way. And I think that like what you said with the connection to source, having that massive heart opening mystical experience, right, it can be so beautiful, but then it can also make things harder as you're on this healing journey. In a sense, it is helpful to know that that's real, but also when we are already grieving that connection, right? Because we live in this space, in this world that is rooted in separation right now. Of course, we are creating unity now, but there still can be a lot of feelings of illusion and feelings of separation that it can also be harder in a sense. So I totally hear that. Let's see. The Netherlands too. I love that you guys are from all these beautiful places. Michaela and anyone who wishes to answer, how do you recognize and respond to not acting with love towards others? So I think that it's so natural to occasionally have reactions, right? Especially to the people closest to us. That is where our deepest triggers come up, where often we can take action from spaces of fear and control or anger or unprocessed emotions. And so I think always, always, always the first step, if you've taken an action that didn't stem from love in whatever way, whether that's towards somebody else or a decision that you've made in your life, for me, the immediate forgiveness is so important. The immediate compassion with myself, because if you're here, it's likely at a space where yes, you want to hold yourself accountable, but you don't want to hold yourself accountable in a way that is judgmental, blaming, or shaming. So bringing in that forgiveness is essential for me, because sometimes I can hold myself to this really high standard where it's like, oh, I'll only take action from love and that's my intention, right? But then sometimes I get triggered and I'm human, right? And there can be unconscious things that get in the way. And so the forgiveness, and then also using that as an opportunity to understand myself more deeply, which can truly only be done when I've created that compassion, because then I find the root of what did lead me to take action from fear, and what is it that I was really feeling. So getting to that root is so important. It can only be done from that space of observation and yeah, just also every single morning, I love to do some sort of ritual, some sort of prayer that asks to really like just asking the source within me, show me how to lead from love today. And sometimes learning to lead from love requires you to take an action that is fear based to become aware of the unconscious part of you that is still wanting to operate out of fear, right? So it's so important to just always bring it back to that self forgiveness, holding yourself accountable, of course, but in a way that is loving. And then getting to the root. Why did I take that action from fear? Right. And also, just like having reminders throughout the day when people trigger you or when there are people who are doing things that you don't understand. I've had this happen to me. Just asking myself, how would source see this right now? Calling on your higher self and like kind of snapping out of the judgmental illusion and just seeing, oh, this is also an embodiment of source energy. And how interesting that it's embodied in this way. And this person, how they've forgotten their divinity and, not using that as an excuse to tolerate behavior that's being projected at you, but almost freeing yourself in a sense to understand that that is a soul on their own journey and you do not need to always intervene or your judgment isn't even required there. You don't need to judge somebody who is expressing their free will in the way that they choose. And there's nuance to all of this, but that's my biggest advice as to how I continue to root back into love. And yeah, we're human, we're going to make mistakes, and those mistakes are really just opportunities for us to evolve and to strengthen that love within us. I got you guys with the loving energy. I'm glad you guys liked it. I had a one-off experience too. Feel lucky to have had that because otherwise I would never know how intensely loved I am. Beautiful, beautiful. Hey, Michaela, I sent you an email and it would mean the world to me to hear back from you. You've been mirroring my soul and completing my thoughts and words. You could use a like mine. I will definitely check my email. I want to share with you guys that, on this journey, and it's been hard because I want to get back to all of you guys. I want to get back to your comments. I want to get back to your emails. And yet sometimes I need to pull back and just be with myself, especially after I create a video, because again, it's putting so much energy out there. And that's why I really love these live streams, because it feels like it gives me a chance to interact with you in real time. I, of course, will try to check my emails and try to reply, but I am someone who gets overstimulated quite easily, and I am still like in the midst of this healing. And so sometimes I really struggle to answer messages. So I want you guys to know that it is literally never personal if I don't get back to a comment that you leave or an email that you send. Often I like can't create or respond or retreat for, and I need to retreat for quite a while. And that's just kind of where I'm at on my journey right now. So I will do my best to check on comments and emails and things like that. But I would say that these live streams are really the best place to get any questions you have answered. And yeah, so that's what I encourage you to utilize this time for, because it feels like a really sacred portal for us to be able to connect. Let's see. Want to take Pat? Okay. Dwight, you are just too silly. I gotta stop reading your comments. I'm sorry. Okay, let me go up. Okay, I'm back. Thank you so much for the moment of unconditional love. I haven't brought to life what my creation is either. I'm still feeling a little more self-doubt, but the confidence is coming. It's absolutely coming. OMG, that's my dream life. I love that. So living in the forest, frolicking like a bunch of fairies. Maybe we'll do this together. Libra, Cancer, Sagittarius. Ooh, we got another Cancer moon here. Thank you for sharing that. It helps. I have no human friends. Tubby, I'm so sorry. Humans can be hard sometimes, but you have friends here. And I know it's hard when it's just through a screen, but I invite you to really know how loved and supported you are, and that many of us are doing a lot of healing work right now to be able to attract um, relationships that aren't negatively karmic or holding us back. So I hear you. Overcoming the evil eyes is difficult, but the Lord fights for us. Yeah, I think for a while feeling that evil eye energy of just people who were, maybe not wishing me the best was really hard. And I think again, when I'm faced with that challenge, it's like another nudge to remember who I truly am and that no energy can impact me if I do not allow it in. And if it does impact me, it's alerting me to a space within myself where I haven't fully tapped into my power, and just always remembering that and letting that help me to feel how sovereign I am, help me to feel how powerful I am. And yeah, I've learned to kind of get off, like I said, those platforms where I feel like that energy runs rampant and just devote my energy here. Marisnik, I love the energy of this live. Me too. This was my favorite one that I've ever done. This is my third live, but this is like my favorite. So we'll keep doing these. Your energy, frequency, and vibration is radiant and authentic. Thank you so much. I love that. Tubby, hee hee, dance parties live here. Maybe we'll have a dance party one day. That would be awesome. Okay. Let's see. I love you guys responding. I feel boxed in when searching for the reasons of life. Okay. Serbia, Finland. Oh, you guys like my painting. Thank you so much. Yeah, I one day would love to like sell my work. I feel like right now I'm creating for me like all this jewelry. I have plans to eventually be able to create like personalized pieces for you guys. Where like I have all of these crystals and all of this gold-filled chain, and I'm still learning how to make them, but this one's so delight. And yeah, I've infused these with all of these like beautiful intentions, and I'll when I start to like make my work available, I'll definitely let you guys know, but I'm just doing it for fun right now, which is really freeing for me. Okay, Tubby, you've pulled Mintalkin a few times too. Amazing. So we are definitely soul family if you guys are from Mintaka. 111 to me, it really signals alignment. So I forget what I was saying, but it was an alignment. And I remembered that because like picturing the ones next to each other, it's like alignment, if that makes sense. But for everyone, it's different. Let's see. Wallflower may have just changed their name. We've only met online. It's been a collaboration. Okay. I'm going to make that post on my community page so you guys can comment your names there. From the Netherlands. Okay. Okay, 245. Let's see. Chani. I found I don't trust my body. I don't believe it's strong enough, and I get sick a lot, and I'm constantly infected with every available virus, and I feel weak most of the time. Any advice? I think that it seems like you've gotten to the root cause, right, of the belief system around that. And what I would invite you to do is to connect with what is associated with that belief system emotionally. And for me, I think what I'm tuning into here with what you shared is that this is a really deep wound for you. It's likely something that goes back lifetimes or something you inherited from family. I'm not sure because, this isn't a one-on-one. I don't currently offer one-on-ones right now, but I'm going to do my best to support you in this right now. What is so essential for us to understand about these deep wounds that cause us this physical manifestation of illness or circumstances that we don't want is that the circumstances that are coming up are just a symptom of a deeper issue, and likely chronic symptoms are usually, this is not medical advice, but I would say related to really deep unprocessed emotional wounds that are living within the body. And so what I would invite you to do is to understand that there is a part of you that exists who is always afraid of your body not being safe, not being well, who feels like your body is weak, and to honor that that has been the lived experience of this part of you. Connect with that part of you and hold space. Don't try to diminish it. But I also would invite you to practice connecting to the source within you, the highest, most loving energy within you that is fully connected to your divinity, that has full power to bring health, to bring wellness to every cell of your body. Connect to that part simultaneously, right? And as you connect to that part, use that unconditionally loving, all powerful source energy within you to hold loving space for the part of you that is afraid, and to support you in no longer identifying with those belief systems, with those emotions, to hold loving space and to allow it to be there without believing everything that it says, and to really understand again this theme where it's like, this part of me that is terrified of not being well, this part of me that always gets sick, is a part of me trying to alert me. It is crying out for help to go deeper emotionally. And often, when I get sick personally, it's always because there's a part of me that has needed more nurturing, more loving, more rest. And I know that can be hard when it happens over and over again, but start with that connection to unconditional love, connection to source. Surround that part of you in safety and love, and ask to be shown what is at the root of this here. At the same time, as you do that emotional work, I invite you to shift this narrative around it in a gentle and loving way, knowing that, yes, this part of you is afraid that you will get sick and that you're going to pick up everything, the viruses all around you and all of that. And that has been your experience. But start to shift the narrative to, that was my experience. And I honor the part of me that has been through that. And I am now shifting, and I am learning how to create wellness. I am learning to manifest health from within me. And I am honoring my process of that. I'm honoring my process. I'm getting stronger every day. These feelings of fear come up because they're being transmuted and alchemized right now. When I get sick, it's because my body is needing love and rest. I honor it, and I trust this process the divine is carrying me through right now. However, that belief that your body is not strong enough, counteract it. Even if you don't believe it at first, my body's getting stronger every day. My body's getting more resilient every day. And so I think that this is like really a dance between remembering who you are, connecting to source energy, surrounding this current experience in love, and also practicing that new narrative, even when it feels hard. But I highly encourage that emotional space holding to be the first step, because sometimes when we just try to like say, oh, I am strong, I am well, I am healthy, it's like not landing, right? So that part of you that is afraid needs to trust you first, needs to feel your love. And then you can say, I know you've struggled in the past, but we're getting healthier every day. We're getting stronger every day. And see how that works. And just know that you are always one shift away from turning a challenging experience into a healing experience. The Old Gray Wolf. I have more early works of all types. My 3D self is a scientist who can't write, but my superconscious mind sometimes asserts itself, and I have to create space and clarity to do 3D life. Beautiful. At you as if I'm staring. Let's see. Oh, I think I missed Tubby saying forgiveness is so difficult. It can be, yeah. And I think that that's why the self-forgiveness is the first step. And if you have a hard time forgiving yourself, I would invite you to understand that everything you've ever done, everything you've ever said, you had a reason for doing it. That reason might have been from wounding, right? It might have been through pain, from suffering, that led you to do what you've done. But that doesn't mean you don't deserve forgiveness. You were doing the very best you could. And often we've had trauma inflicted on us, pain inflicted on us, programming inflicted on us that we wouldn't consciously choose, yet we have absorbed it. And sometimes it can lead us to do things that we think we shouldn't do and that we likely don't want to be doing. But I invite you to know that that forgiveness is a portal to be able to choose from love rather than repeating the pattern. So you don't have to shame yourself to stop doing something. You hold yourself accountable with love. Okay, sorry, you guys. Got to catch up on the chat. Okay. Let's see. Message of being on the right path. Yes, 111, alignment. Let's see. I don't like it at all that some are judgmental, closed-minded, force their truth down your throat. In a way, I'm right, you're wrong, ego mindset, it's my way or the highway. I totally hear you. That is like one of my biggest triggers, I would say, from teachers, especially in the spiritual community, because it's just like, and it triggers me for a reason, so I should look into that. But I think it's just because it makes me feel like backed into a corner sometimes, like I have to choose one side or another, when really what I'm working on right now is ascending from duality. So the acceptance of multiple truths and then learning what truth is most aligned for me and knowing that that truth doesn't have to be the truth that everyone else holds. It's so freeing when you can allow space for nuance, because black and white thinking is duality. And I think many of us here, we probably have a little bit of a distaste for that at this point, because we're wanting to, ascend into the space of being able to hold that there are so many different levels of truth and that they can all exist. And we don't have to fight against somebody else's truth in order for us to be valid, right? FYI, can't thank you enough. Oh, you are so welcome. I'm so glad that everything has been so helpful. Samir, you're beautiful. Thank you very much. What was the exact moment in your life that your awakening happened? To me, I didn't have like a shocking awakening moment. I would say that my soul went on a pretty interesting journey in this life where I felt like as a child, I was really wise and spiritually awakened in a sense. I mean, I don't think I had the wisdom then that I have now, because I think a lot of the wisdom that I carry came through the challenges that I went through in this lifetime in particular, although there was likely those challenges in other lifetimes too. But I was asleep for a while. I was not conscious for a while in my life. I really played the game. I at first was really struggling within it. And then, like I talk about now with perfectionism, I found this like drill sergeant energy within me that showed me how to get the right grades, showed me how to be who I was supposed to be. And I lived in that energy for quite a while. And, I was a huge partier when I was in college. Like, it's just really crazy, my evolution to where I am now, because I was at the club all the time. And it's just so interesting, right? But I learned a lot through that in my own funny way. And I think it's cool to have had such a contrasting experience. And then I would say what catalyzed my awakening was that moment in my early 20s where I was meant to choose what I want to do for the rest of my life, that a lot of us encounter. And I know some of us haven't gone through like traditional schooling, but I went to college, and, after college, there was just immense pressure to choose, am I going to apply for a job? Am I going to go to graduate school? What am I going to do next? And I always kind of had this like defiant energy of the system in a sense. Like, even though I learned how to work within it, I never really was able to fully conform in a sense. And so I knew I wanted to start my own business. And for any of you guys who have ever tried to start your own business, it is a spiritual catalyst in itself, because it requires so much faith so much shadow work, because there's so much self-doubt that comes when you choose an unconventional path. So I think between that and then also I started to really struggle with health issues at the time because I was drinking and partying so much and just draining my energy. I didn't know how to take care of myself. I had no idea the journey that was ahead of me at that point. Like, it was, if you told that version of me now what I do now, she would laugh. Um, but I think it was like, again, all of these divine gifts that felt like a punishment at the time, which was one, my business was not easy to start. I'm still working on that. It's been many years and I'm still finally here on YouTube. Again, I think this YouTube channel is a reflection of the foundation that I've been building within myself, but I'm still totally unsure of where I want to head with this, but I'm trusting, right? I'm taking one step at a time. But before that felt so impossible to me. And I just felt like I needed to have everything figured out. My health was struggling. My nervous system was really depleted. And so I think it was when things weren't working out for me, like I got really into manifestation and I really struggled to manifest. So when you guys were talking about like watching something come easily to somebody else who hasn't really been on the same journey, and then being like, what is wrong with me? Why can't I do what they're doing? Why can't I be seen in that way? Why can't I manifest the way that they can? That's what happened. Was I was trying all these manifestation tools and I was, you know, able to kind of see results from it. Like, I believed in it, but it just wasn't changing my life in the way that it was promised that it would. And so that just led me to this path of digging deeper. Like, how does this world work in a sense? And again, letting go of attachment to having it all figured out. But in a sense, I've been given kind of the codes, I would say, to my personal journey to expansion, which was that I was never meant to build my business in the way that I thought I was going to, because that was coming from my ego. It was coming from my need to prove myself to the world. And of course, I was a life coach at the time. And so, of course, I wanted to help people. Like, I knew that's what I was called to do. And I loved holding space for people in that sense. But my ego needed me to be successful, also wanted to like offer advice to people when I know now what I meant to do is to show you the process of me connecting to my own source, connecting to my own healing, and reminding you that you are source and you have your answers. And, I can give you my personal answers here, but at the end of the day, I hope that you guys feel this, that I see that all of you guys are so powerful and so capable of answering your own questions. And also, like, I think it's fun to have these Q&As, but I see that you guys are so powerful and that you're already on your journey and you're doing so much better than you realize. And so I feel like I was pushed onto this spiritual awakening path because nothing was working for me. And I was really struggling in so many areas of my life. I mean, just my relationship with my health and my body were struggling, my relationship with money, my relationship, like, I didn't really have a relationship with God or source or the divine in a sense. I just kind of wanted the universe to help me manifest things, but like, I didn't really understand what I was truly doing in a sense. And now what I've realized is that my awakening was so gradual into realizing I was pushed on this path. I struggled with all of that because it was never meant for me. All of those doors, all of the rejection, the endless trying for years, putting myself out there on social media, just struggling. I was pushed to this space where I now know that acting and creating from a pure place of wanting to serve the highest good of all, from a pure place of joy, inspiration, and freedom, is what my soul signed up for in this life. It's not for everyone. It's not the easiest path, I will say. But the most important thing to me is that my impact changes the world for the better. I'm not just here to get mine. I'm not just here to make money. I'm not just here to show everyone that my life is perfect and successful and all of these things. I want my life to be real. I want to know that I've made the world a better place. And that's a genuine longing that I have now, whereas before I couldn't really tap into that. So that's like kind of the long-winded answer of my spiritual awakening. It was really feeling very lost in life, not knowing why my soul is even here and trying to figure that out through doing all of this stuff that didn't work, and then just getting pushed to this journey of healing, this journey of awakening. And I know there's so much more to this beyond just like what I create in my own life, and we're moving into that now, that collective healing, that collective awakening. I just feel that this earth is shifting, and that's, you know, the job that we came here for. So yeah, that's my little story. I could go into it more, of course, but let's get back into the comments because I feel like I'm behind with the comments. And I want to make sure that I get to talk to you guys. I was going to do an hour today, but it looks like we're going to do 2 hours, and that's totally fine with me because I'm having so much fun with you guys. Let's see. I love it when some are open-minded, respectful, settle our unique free will and different opinion and truth, even if we agree, resonate, or disagree and don't resonate. Totally agree. I think nobody is wrong and crazy for having our own different opinions and point of truth and point of view's truth take on things, even if it's popular or unpopular. Beautiful. Okay. Make some jewelry that works for guys that wear business casual. It's interesting you say that. I'm going to get some like, instead of gold, I'll get some rope so that I can do some male jewelry like bracelets and crystal bracelets, crystal necklaces. So I'll definitely let you know when I do that. Dwight, it's all love here. Your comments are funny, but I'm sorry if you felt offended. I love your energy. You've been a soul mirror for me. Thank you for all you do. I've been talking to Sarah. Been talking fam. I love that. For what it's worth, looking up Louise Hay's list of causes and illness has proven very useful to me in the past, if anyone wants to look it up. Yeah, I haven't like dug into Louise Hay's work as much, but I do know that she's like the queen of positive affirmation. So I think that could be really useful for identifying what's going on for sure. Okay, wait, let me go up. I think the world will be a boring place if we were all forced to think the same like robots. Totally true. Hi, Michaela. What a pleasant surprise. I'm late. I was meditating. Happy you showed up anyways. Okay. Regarding the homestead/community vision calls on many of us for sure and is deeply necessary, I believe, with the amplified impact of mission-driven souls coming together in the physical. Yeah, I feel like that is what I kind of see the new earth heading towards, is that I know for me, one day I would love to be a mom. And I just really see my kids growing up in a space where there is community, right? But community that is supportive rather than forcing them to conform in some way. I would love one day to just like have real life community in a beautiful nature sanctuary. I feel like we will make this happen. So I really do believe that. Think for ourselves, have a mind of our own. Absolutely. But leaving everyone behind, is that the way? I'm not exactly sure what that question was referring to, leaving everyone behind. Are you talking about with the homestead, or are you talking about with like the awakening process, like letting people kind of be on the journey where they're at? I can answer both questions. I'm having a feeling it might be the second one. Letting people be on their journey is not about leaving anybody behind. It is about honoring that every soul came here to learn at their own pace, to grow at their own pace, and to grow through experiences that we may, from our perspective, see as negative or see their experience as wrong or bad in some way, right? But what we have to understand is that we cannot help anybody who isn't choosing that at a soul level and who isn't ready and willing to be helped. So our energy is best put to use where we can actually be of service. And it's way more life giving for us when we are on this path of awakening to truly help those who are ready, who are willing. And the way that we help people who are not yet there to get to that place is by being the embodiment of unconditional love. And sometimes that does mean setting firm boundaries with those people, letting them go on their journey, because it's really important to view every single human being as the walking embodiment of source energy. Every single human being is immensely powerful and immensely capable of breaking free from their own distortion, of ascending in their own way and time. And so not seeing anybody as limited or broken just because they're choosing a challenging path, a path that maybe is more conforming or, rooted in distortion in some way. It's like always having that open hand of, when you want to truly hear what I have to say, or when you want to truly do this work, I'm here. But I'm not here to argue. I'm not here to try to prove my point to you, because trying to prove your point that your point that is of this higher vibration to somebody who's living in that lower vibrational state, it's like speaking two different languages, whereas simply embodying that frequency is like surrounding that person in the frequency that they need to start to ascend on their own path if that's where they're called. So I think it's just really important to understand you're not leaving anyone behind necessarily that is meant to be on your journey. If you do feel called to end certain relationships, it's likely because that person is needing to go on their own journey, and you may have come together for a certain time and maybe that was a catalyst for them in some way, and then you also being a part could be a catalyst to them finding their own power in some way. So I think that's the question you were asking, but if not, I felt like it was important to talk about it anyways. Okay, just listening and tuning into these messages and all the compassion and unconditional love radiating from this channel. I love that so much. This is so fun, you guys. I hope you guys are having fun too. Hi, please tell us a bit about yourself. I feel like I just did that a little bit with my awakening story, but I actually was thinking, because I haven't been posting on my podcast as much lately. I've just been doing YouTube, and I used to share across both platforms. I think I'm going to do a podcast only episode where I just kind of talk about a little more personal life stuff that's been going on. Just kind of give an update over there. So if you guys are interested, it'll be on the Rituals with Michaela podcast, where I'll just do like a little bit of a life update. Since we only have about 13 more minutes here, I want to just make sure that I can get to the end of the chat, and I'll also make sure to create that episode soon. Living with Soul Family, Miss. Go to... Oh, you were asking to go to the bathroom and you don't want to miss out on anything? Sorry. Well, you could rewatch the part you missed. I'm so grateful to be a part of this community. I feel empowered to keep creating my own channeling videos in response to finding you in your channel. Please do, and please share it on the community posts that I'm going to create. You guys, I think that'll be a great little space for us to share. We have so much in common. I could never function inside the system. I went through a lot of health issues, which led me to start my business, which I've had for over 10 years. Oh my gosh. It's so funny. We get like a lot of the same catalysts, and they can either make us feel like the world is working against us, or we can use them to catalyze us into where we're meant to go. So I'm glad we did it. We should create a WhatsApp group or something. If you guys want to start that again with the messaging for me, I would feel bad if I started it because I have a few WhatsApp group chats that I'm really not good at answering. I don't know if any of you guys get this way. I don't know what it is like about the way that my brain works, but I lately, just when it comes to messaging, I get so overstimulated. It's like this part of me rebelling against constantly being reachable to other people. I know I shared this in one of my videos recently. It's like there's a part of me that's rebellious of that like really wants this like human face-to-face connection, but doesn't want to have all of these messages. And I'm not saying like I'm not like the most popular person in the world. Like I don't have like always a ton of messages, but if I do sometimes, like I don't know what it is. Like there's this part of me that's so rebellious to it. And it's not that I don't want to connect with you guys. Like this is so life-giving. But I think a group chat for me, if somebody knows what this is, I don't know if I don't want to call it like ADHD because I do struggle with some tendencies like that, but I'm curious if anyone else has felt this around messaging and just feeling overwhelmed and just I feel like it really is the part of me that craves freedom and presence and I love being here with you guys. So if you guys on the posts that I create on my community start a WhatsApp chat to connect with each other and if that's life-giving for you guys, I totally encourage it. I think it's so important to like remain connected with each other. And I think everybody's different too. Like some people really find writing messages nourishing and I totally support it. I hope you guys can feel that, like the genuine way that I support that and the genuine way that I love connecting with you too. So I hope that you guys will keep coming to the lives because I feel like this is really the way that I want to connect with all of you. And I hope that you guys enjoy it too. Thank you for saying my hair looks beautiful. Oh, thank you so much. My comments went unanswered. I'm now officially ghosted. I'm an outcast here. Oh no, your comments did not go unanswered. I just hadn't gotten to them yet. So I was reading the chat and it was a little overwhelming. So yeah. I'm sorry that you felt ghosted. You were not ghosted. Thank you for embodying what you signed up for. Oh, butterfly effect amplified by all who enjoy your glowing light. Beautiful. Thank you so much for seeing me the way that you do. Spiritual awakening is awesome, but if there's no one in the room, turn off the fan. I'm just trying to save your electricity bill. Honestly, I like the air, to be honest. I really like the flow. Okay. I do agree. Some resonate. When some say we judge others, we are judging ourselves without realizing it. There's no separation. Everything is energy. We are all one. Thanks for saying I'd be a great mom. That's so sweet. Okay. Let's see. I'm going to skip some of these comments. Alter ego. I'm not quite sure why you're nitpicking my room, but I don't want you to feel ghosted, but please ask questions related to healing and spirituality here, because that's a blanket, not a towel. Okay. Jesus died for your sins. I don't love just ignoring comments because I feel like I want to address you guys and make you feel welcome. However, I respectfully and humbly disagree. And I'm going to leave it there with the Jesus comments. Let's see. Alina, what are your thoughts on why do most people are not feeling the need to awaken? Almost everything who I know are not called to this path. I personally feel like there is going to be a dramatic shift that happens. You know, a lot of people have been talking about the event, the big solar flash coming. And I think that what we're going to see over the next year or so is that just like when I was talking about my catalyst into spiritual awakening, it was catalyzed through what some would perceive as really chaotic circumstances. really struggling with my health, struggling with my purpose in life, feeling really lost. And I think that just like the way the pandemic kind of shook people up in a sense. I'm not saying there's going to be another pandemic, but something along the lines of like everything in this world shifting so dramatically to the point where people really are kind of pushed into an awakening. I do feel something like that coming. And so I think what many of us who are awakening early are here to do are to kind of be the way showers of that path. And so while it may seem like there have not been that many of us awakening, again, I do feel like we're kind of scattered throughout the planet. And that's why we came here also at the age of social media rising, so that we could connect in this way and feel less alone. Because I know that I've met community mostly through the online space and through going to like retreats and things like that. A lot of the people that I connect with really deeply don't live that close to me. So yeah, a lot of you guys are like in the Netherlands. I'm over here in Southern California. So yeah, it's interesting how we're all kind of scattered, but there are more of us than we realize. And I do believe that people will be awakening in larger numbers in the coming year or so, and that we're here to hold the space for that, and we're gonna be able to like shepherd. I keep hearing that word of shepherding, leading the way. Okay. Okay, left the podcast. Open question. What do you think about the story of Jesus? It sounds like his main message of embodying love. Just now someone posted Jesus is the only way. What do you think about all of this? I think there was a part of me that was like, do I respond to that? Do I not? And I think there's a part of me that chooses, like I was saying, not to engage in conversation where I do feel one person is believing that their truth is the only truth, right? Because it's like trying to share my truth and knowing that it's not going to be heard and received. I will still speak my truth on this, of course, but I try not to really enter into conversations where it doesn't feel like it's approached with curiosity and openness, where someone is trying to convince me of their way. But what I will say is that I truly believe that when we are connecting spiritually, that what is true feels like love within me. And that is how I operate. That is how I choose to operate. I have the freedom to choose that. And anything that says that their belief is the only belief, that their way is the only way, is usually operating from a space of fear. And I'm not saying that there isn't truth amidst those teachings, but when it's encoded in fear, I believe that it is used to control us and to suppress us from accessing our true power, our true source, from accessing that space of love, from living in fear. And what we've witnessed amongst people who, identify as deeply religious, I'm not saying all religious people operate within this way, but that operating from that space of fear, it doesn't lead them to really live from love in a sense. It doesn't lead them often to practice what they preach in certain ways. It becomes more about control, more about avoiding sinning in a sense, rather than living from a space of love and integrity and connection to one another. It becomes about control. It becomes about convincing others that their way is the only way, instead of embodying the way, embodying that love, embodying Jesus energy, which was, I just truly believe his story has been so distorted and changed many times to fit certain agendas and certain narratives of control. Unfortunately, this really beautiful presence that embodied unconditional love and embodied acceptance of all, embodied true forgiveness, it has been distorted and used for control in many ways. And so I think the reason I don't love to address comments like that is because I don't want to make anyone feel like their own beliefs are bad or wrong, right? I don't want to make anyone feel ashamed of what they've the religion that they've chosen. However, I do feel like when it comes onto my platform and into the sacred space that I'm creating, I do feel called to speak to that because, anytime we're trying to convince and use fear to persuade that our truth is the only truth, it does not feel aligned for me. And it's not something that I welcome in this space because I truly, I just don't welcome that energy of fear in. Of course, your opinion is allowed to be held, but it's just not something that I align with or resonate with. And it doesn't feel like an invitation for a conversation. It feels like a little bit of an attack there. So we just don't welcome that in. I welcome open conversation. So let's see. You're talking about freedom. You have taken the freedom you need for yourself. I deleted my WhatsApp for more than a week and it felt so good. Yes. Sorry, I'm like reading them all at once. So that's why I like zone out a little bit when I'm reading the comments. But yes, it does feel good, right? To just not feel that energy pulling at you. It's not that the people messaging you are people you don't want to talk to, right? It's just like to feel centered in your own energy is beautiful. Pathological demand avoidance. Not saying that it is. It's just the technical term used. I wish I was able to read these when I was talking about whatever I was talking about then, because I feel like I forget what these messages are responding to, but that's okay. I'll just catch up with it now. OMG, I can't believe you're live. Yes, I'm live. I absolutely get the overwhelming feeling in group chats and apps in general. Yeah, for sure. Totally resonate with being overwhelmed. Okay, you guys get it. You guys are making me feel so much less alone with that because a lot of people haven't understood. Okay. I got my dream job with my dream salary in my dream city, all thanks to me. You did that. But I'm so glad that my videos helped you in whatever way they did. I'm so glad that I've seen your comments before. Like, you have supported my videos so much. So, like, we're supporting each other on our journeys. I'm so glad. Congratulations on the job. Like, I'm so happy for you, genuinely. And thank you for the way that you support me. I'm so honored that what I share has supported you in that way. Ultimately, it's a free will choice. How do I connect with my spirituality after being hospitalized? Love you so much. Love you too, P. Such a cute name. I would just say connect to self-love. Like, that is, if you're feeling like you're starting at ground one and you want to connect to your spirituality, of course, invite in beings of the highest love and light, whom it is in your highest good to work with and receive from at this time. I'm hearing Archangel Raphael could be someone to call on. He's really good with physical healing if that's something you connect with. However, surrounding yourself in so much love. I'm hearing mother love. That nurturing, enveloping energy, I think, is just a great starting point. Okay. We are getting to 2 hours. So I really want to make sure that I'm like literally having so much fun though. I'm like, I just want to wait until I get to the bottom of the chat. Okay, so you guys get it. I'm so isolated from others. The longer I'm away from people, the more I want to be away from them. Spiritual grandma. You're like my spirit animal. I feel like I just resonate with everything you say. But I think like it's also we're getting ready to be surrounded by the people who help refuel us too. And many of us just haven't had that, I'm kind of in a bit of an isolation phase too. And I think it's really pushing me to connect with my source more, which has been beautiful. I also just want freedom, peace, love, settle our unique difference. And I also think that some are closed-minded and comes from ego, fear, and that my way is the only way. I also disagree with that mindset. And I think, something that has really helped me, because like I also relate to that, is just being like, at an even higher level, people who think their way is the only way, it's like, sure, your way is the only way. And there are many other ways, right? Like letting people believe in their truth and not trying to fight against it. It's like embodying that everyone can be right. Most religions today are to embody division and hate. Unity is so rare now. Agreed, but we're making it common, right? We're embodying it, that it'll spread like wildfire as we embody it in the best way. That light spreads so fast. Hal, thank you for saying I'm a positive person. Thank you for your beautiful answer, respecting all. You speak with the presence of a dragon. Ooh, thank you. I love that. Oh, shoot. Okay. I just want to say hello, Michaela. Your offerings here on YouTube have absolutely meant the world to me. Amaya, I'm so glad. It's meant the world to me too, to be able to create. It's just like, it's the gift that keeps on giving. I feel like seeing how it gives to you guys warms my heart, and just know that, yeah, I love doing it. So I'm going to keep going. Alina, last 2 years of my life was so intense, full of transformation, that I feel like I'm being prepared for something that is coming. Absolutely. We are, and we're ready to, we're getting ready, and I feel it coming. I know 2026 is going to be huge. I mean, the end of this year, there's so much good coming, and it may come with the illusion of chaos. Not the illusion of chaos, but it may come with chaos that feels really difficult on the human level, that we're meant to hold that frequency of trust, like the tower moment, the dismantling of what was never built on stable ground, so that we can build structures on stable ground, and us holding that vision together is so powerful. If you had to choose a side, Jesus on one hand and Satan on the other, whom would you serve and why? You see, I feel like I'm kind of in a space where I can't even really truly answer that question, because I'm learning that there is no separation between the two, right? That Satan is just this illusion in a way. And I don't really feel called to, I know I said I would answer your questions on healing and spirituality, so I want to answer your question, right? But I think that like even choosing sides is like abiding by duality consciousness, right? And I think what I'm learning is that embodying that Jesus presence of unconditional love shines light on the Satan presence, the shadow presence within me, that part of me that felt disconnected from love. And I realize it's all one, it's all the same. And so, in a sense, I choose that side of unconditional love only to be able to bring that part of me that was in the shadows into wholeness. And so, it really isn't choosing a side, it's choosing all parts of me, it's choosing unity. So I did answer the question. That's why I like your channel, the open conversation. Yay, so glad. That's so important to me. The problem is tribalism and jargon. Peace, love, and beauty, loved ones. I agree. Those comments felt more like spam, uninvited, unwanted. Yes. That's totally understandable. I don't know why it was an attack you hear your platform. My apologies. Honestly, it didn't really affect me. I feel like I've been getting to this place where I'm just like, oh, okay, there's that energy here. It might not be my favorite, but it didn't feel like it really got me. I hope that you guys are feeling that too, that you're all good. Let's see. My man, Raphael. Every religion basically talks about the same thing. The problem is they all use different words. And if you don't say it the way they like to hear it, they won't hear you. Exactly. It's like many of them have the same teachings, but are they embodying it, right? It's very interesting. A lot of talk. And that's why, like what I was talking about earlier about, like, let's stop trying to convince, embody, be that energy. Stillness with Megan. Yes, do more live streams. I do have to get some stuff done, but this is fun. I don't blame you. We've been over 2 hours, you guys. For those of you who have been here, I am so grateful. But I'm going to be ending soon. Let's see. Connecting with my higher self led me to create my own offering. Working with the land, pulling weeds for my community. So beautiful. Has supported me financially to move towards becoming an art teacher. That's absolutely incredible. Working with the earth and creating art is like a dream. You are seen, Michaela. Your energy gives me hope for the future. I love you guys so, so much. I really do. Oh, living codes, yo. Living codex. Reem, Dolly. Hi, Michaela. I'm watching this with my mama. Can you please say hi, Rasha and Reem? Love you guys. Thanks for being here. Oh, That is steadfast space, your heart space in residence. I love you guys so much. This feels like the perfect place to end. I truly had so much fun. I definitely want to do this again, maybe sooner than a month. We'll see. And there's something I'm going to say. Oh, something that I would like to do before the next live stream is create a moderator for the chat so we can lovingly protect this sacred space. And so I'm going to be kind of looking through the chat afterwards, and I'm trying to think of how we can do this. If there was any of you guys who stayed this whole time, who feel like you would love to attend my lives, who feel like you've been, on my channel for quite a while, I'm going to be taking a look at the chat and just how you participated in this current chat. If there was any of you who really were just showing up in the chat with offering good vibes, offering really, I would say, harmonious communication here, supportive communication, I would love to have someone as a moderator. So what I will likely do is I'm going to look through the chat and I'm going to tag maybe some of you in a comment somewhere just to maybe get your approval to be a moderator if you want that job. And yeah, that would be really cool. So let me just check the chat. Okay, it looks like we're good. So if any of you guys are interested, yeah, I'll be reaching out. I'm still trying to think of like how I'm going to do that, but just know that that may be coming your way if you were a participant in today's chat. I love you guys so much. Sending you so much love. Let's just take a moment to close the space. Sending you so much strength, sending you so much love, sending you so much joy. I invite you to ask yourself, how can I move forward with the rest of my day or the rest of my evening, embodying love, living from love, in service of the highest good of all, whether that be playing or creating, getting out in nature, cozying up in your bed with a cup of tea and a good book. Whatever it is, I invite you to really listen without question to what you're meant to do in this moment. I literally love you guys so much. And yeah, I would, oh my gosh, there's one more question. It's a good one. Okay. If you guys gotta go, you gotta go. I'm just having so much fun here and I feel like I'm on a roll. So I'm gonna answer this last question from Madison, and that will be the last question. It's at 1:11 p.m. my time. So it feels like a really good way to end the live. Michaela, I'm curious as to how you deal with overwhelming grief in the current state of the world. It often feels so powerless to start to devalue my healing journey. Yes. Okay, this is the last question I'm going to answer. So guys, if you feel called to stay tuned for it, I invite you to. So I feel like when we witness the current state of the world, it is so natural to feel that overwhelming grief because everything that we see on the news can be so disheartening. And I think, first of all, it's very important to understand that the news is designed that way, right? It keeps us in that loop of fear, that spiral of despair. And it's not to say that some of the things they show aren't truly happening in the world. Of course, when we see war, when we see catastrophe, when we see all of that pain, it cracks our hearts open. And I think that the middle path here is incredibly important, which is understanding that we're not meant to just turn a blind eye to everything going on and live in our own little bubble. However, when we become aware of something that's going on in the world, asking ourselves, where is my energy put to its best use? I am not going to let fear propaganda put me into this space of fear and creating that narrative, the world is doomed, we're not healing, we're not moving forward. Often we are only shown what makes us think that the world is not healing. We're not shown these moments of breakthrough, these moments of healing, these moments of expansion. And so remembering that what we see is not all there is. And then also As you feel that heartbreak for the world around you, knowing that that's because in your heart, you know there's another way to be. You know there's another way to live. And your heart is breaking for the fact that you know this, and yet it hasn't been embodied yet. But that you embodying that love, embodying that way of being is how we are going to shift this world. So when you see something going on in the world that makes you feel grief, hold that grief in your heart and know that grief is there because you love humanity. You love other humans. Surround the world in love. Surround the world in your prayers. Surround the world in that healing energy that you give to yourself. Because that does so much for this world. The healing work that you're doing does so much for this world. Of course, if you feel called to take an action step, to donate, to do what you can, do this, but only from a place of love. Ask yourself, how can I move from love over fear? And often as light workers, we are so sensitive that being constantly exposed to the news is diminishing and draining to our energy. So while we can be aware to a certain extent, I invite you to understand that if you are getting trapped in loops of fear and despair and spiraling, that it is not supportive for the collective. And it is not supportive for your own journey. And it's safe for you to take breaks. It's safe for you to visualize peace, to hold the world in love at this time, and to keep devoting to your inner healing. Also, the other way that you can help is by spreading genuine acts of kindness. When you go out into the world, instead of thinking, humans are horrible, how can we do this? How can we do this to one another? The world is broken, this and that. Going out into the world and seeing other human beings as whole, even when they might feel broken, and offering genuine acts of kindness, like letting somebody go ahead of you in traffic, looking at a cashier in the eye and genuinely saying, how was your day? And like actually caring what they have to say and listening to them. Whatever way you feel called to do this, these are the ways that we actually change the world. That butterfly effect, that one act of kindness, that one act that comes from love is so much more supportive than taking action from fear and seeing this world as broken. We have to break through that illusion, and the news, the media is designed to program us. That TV programming, that programming is designed to keep us in the illusion. So it's not about dissociating, it's about seeing things clearly and remembering that your clarity comes from your ability to choose love over fear. If it feels like fear, if it feels like this pressure to do something, to fix what's broken, know that it is going to contribute to the brokenness. If it comes from love, moving towards unity, moving towards connection, it is divinely powerful. It creates a ripple effect beyond measure. It is so huge. So that is the final question I'm going to answer. I literally love you guys so much. Your healing is making a huge difference. And so when in doubt, surround yourself in love and then go out there in the world and embody love with the humans that you can connect with. And if you're, living alone in the forest, I'm super jealous, by the way, send that love to the earth, visualize it. It is powerful. We're more powerful than we realize. So I love you guys. Sending waves of violet, light, and unconditional love. Oh, hey, Jasmine from Vancouver. Awesome. So glad you got to chime in at the end. Amazing, amazing. Awesome. Okay, Madison, so glad you asked that question. And Reem Dolly, I will remember this question. I'm going to screenshot it And that sounds like something perfect to get into in that podcast episode that I talked to you guys about. If you're just chiming into the live right now, I'm going to be doing an episode not for my YouTube channel, just for my podcast, since I haven't been nurturing that as much. I haven't posted there in a little while. So it's going to be like a personal life update. And I will absolutely talk about, recovering from eating disorder, bad relationship with my body, what that has looked like for me. I can definitely get into that a little bit on the episode, and then maybe I'll even do another episode on that. So yeah, I'm going to just give a couple of reminders before we end. I'm going to be making a post on my community page on YouTube where I encourage you to share if you have any creations that are available right now, whether that has been your music that you've created, your artwork that you're selling, if you have an Etsy shop, if you have a YouTube channel, if you have a podcast, just so you guys can remain connected with each other. And yeah, so I'm going to post also. I have a note about Mintaka here. I think I'm going to give you the link to the video that my mentor created a really long time ago about Mintaka. If any of you guys think you're Mintakan star seeds, that would be awesome. So yes, absolutely, you guys. All right, one more time, sending you so much unconditional love, strength. Remember who you are, you guys. You are so divine. Sit on your throne, be still, and know that you are source. And whatever comes up in the coming year, in the coming weeks, know that it is there to show you how powerful you truly are, there to remind you of who you truly are. And you can alchemize anything. Love you guys. And I will see you in my next video I post. Who knows when, but I'll see you then. Love you guys so much. Bye.